Hey everyone, and welcome to National Traffic Incident Response Awareness Week of 2020. Speaking now is me, Ivan Lichtenstein. I am the media liaison over at the Atlanta TMC, working closely with the Georgia Department of Transportation and Georgia 501 to keep you safe out there on the road. Been there for about almost over a year now, and everything I've been doing there has been really great, keeping people safe on the road, making sure traffic updates and alerts get out on time, and working closely with the Georgia Department of Transportation and the Time Task Force, which I'll go to and introduce soon after this, on different marketing and different collaborative efforts for the Georgia roadway system, Georgia traffic system, and also on the interstates as well. With all that being said, I'm happy to be here today talking to you all about this campaign, NTI RAW, National Traffic Incident Response Awareness Week. And with that being said, again, I'm going to turn the floor over to Raquel, who's going to talk a little bit about what the Time Task Force does.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the TMC virtual tour today. I'm happy to be here and to speak with you on behalf of the Georgia Time Task Force. And as Ivan mentioned earlier, this week we are doing a campaign on National Traffic Incident Response Awareness Week. And our biggest point here that we want to stress this entire week, and not just this week, but the entire year, is responder safety. Sometimes we as people and motorists on the roadway don't give special attention to those emergency responders or responders in general who are assisting people on the side of the road or either in the travel lanes. Just paying attention to what's happening there and being alert of those responders. These are real people that are out here in the roadway, and us driving alert and being aware of their safety is very, very important. And we're here today just to kick off this week and to push awareness to everyone, just to make sure everyone is alert, aware of their surroundings as they're driving, and looking out for those guys and gals that are out there trying to do what they can to make the roadways safe for us. So I'm here to talk a little bit about Time Task Force today. And we, along with Georgia 511 and Georgia DOT, are working with this campaign because for us, especially at Time Task Force, it's one of our initiatives. Responder safety and safe, quick clearance of incident scenes is one of our main goals and one of our main focuses. And as you see on your screen here, one of the things we do is we address the critical issues of mobility and safety, of incident management in the Metro Atlanta area, but not just in the Metro Atlanta area, but statewide in the entire state of Georgia. And the task force itself is made up of different responders. So you have your fire, rescue, police and towing, transportation agencies, your safety service patrol. We have Georgia GDOT has the HERO program, and GDOT has the CHAMP program. So all of these responders are people that we're watching out for and we're looking out for and focusing on this week. And we just want to put a special emphasis on that. And like I said, the goal and the mission of the Time Task Force is safe, quick clearance. We want to, develop and sustain statewide incident management programs to facilitate the safest and most efficient roadway clearance possible. In our conference just a few weeks ago, we talked about moving towards zero. So, reducing our clearance times as much as we can and making sure that we're clearing these incidents as safely as we can. But it takes not only just responders, but it takes the general public and those guys that are out there driving around these incidents to give these guys some room and some space to do their job. One of the laws that we are campaigning this week is the Move Over Law. And the law basically states that if you see an emergency responder on the shoulder or in a lane, you are to move over one lane to give them the space and the safety that they need to do their jobs. Next slide, Ivan. And the Time Task Force, we work tirelessly with emergency responders and responders around the state to reduce or eliminate incidents of responders that are struck by vehicles and secondary crashes. Just this year alone, in 2020, we've had 43 fatalities of responders that are out on the roadways working crashes. And that's not a Georgia number, but that is a nationwide number here in the United States. So responder safety awareness is critical. And we at Time Task Force, that's our goal and our mission. And like I said, we work with the responders across the state. We work with HERO, we work with CHAMP, we work with GDOT. And any other agencies that we can to make sure we push this message of responder safety forward, and to make sure everyone is aware and understands what it is to be aware of the responder safety. So we hope you enjoyed this tour today. You're going to hear from some folks from HERO and also from CHAMP, and then you'll get a virtual tour of the TMC. So thank you so much for joining us today.
And thank you so much, Raquel, for your words on the campaign, and the virtual tour will also follow along a lot later. But like Raquel was saying, it's true. When first responders are out there on the job every day, risking their lives for you, they are working for you. And every minute, every second of the day, they work to save the lives of everyday people at the scenes of traffic incidents. No matter what time of day it is, no matter what weather it is, they're always going to be there. And if you think about it in this perspective, almost every day, the average person's going to travel and go to work and back, and they'll drive, they'll go to the office building, they'll be in the office building, and then later that day in the late afternoon, they're going to drive back. Responders, they don't have that life. They work tirelessly and effortlessly every day, making sure you're safe on the road. And everybody, including the first responders, you as the motorist traveling throughout Georgia, everyone plays a role in ensuring their and also your safety at all times. So like I said before, they spend countless hours fulfilling their duties on the sides of busy traffic lanes. And that's why this move over law is so desperately important here in the state of Georgia. Because like Raquel said, over 40 first responders have lost their lives to traffic incidents where someone was not moving over, someone hit them, something happened. But at the end of the day, it was a traffic incident that went bad that caused that first responder to lose his or her or their life. And they lose their lives in the field, like I said, just by being out there helping someone fill their gas in their car, or changing a flat tire, or even something more severe than that. They're out there in the field every day, and unfortunately, some of them, like I said before, do lose their lives. This campaign as a whole, though, for National Traffic Incident Response Awareness Week, we enhance the importance of what we can do and how we can be safe to reduce these tragedies in the future. And just to give you a couple of numbers from the overall statistics, from January through the end of August, so just the start of the year through the midpoint of the year, over 40 law enforcement officers have lost their life in traffic-related incidents. And like I said, that can be something from them going out, talking to someone on the side of the road, assisting someone on the side of the road, and then they didn't make it back to work they didn't make it back home from work that day. On the GDOT side, 60 GDOT employees have died in work zone related accidents since 1973. And another percentage as well, that 60% of crashes that occur through departure of rear end collisions. And a lot of this data is taken from the NHTSA and also from the Georgia DOT as well. And with that being said, on my part for this campaign, I want to turn the floor over to someone who experiences this almost every day, working with a great team of people. I want to turn the floor over to Brian Purvis from the CHAMP program.
Thanks, Ivan. I appreciate it. So a couple of things that I wanted to go over today, specifically as it relates to the Coordinated Highway Assistance and Maintenance Program. So I work with AECOM. We manage this program on Georgia Department of Transportation's behalf. Next slide. So what I want to talk about is basically, what is this program? What can we do for you as a responder or as the motoring public? And more importantly, what you should do for us to protect our lives and our security out on these roadway scenes and roadway incidents. Next slide. So the Coordinated Highway Assistance and Maintenance Program, basically this covers patrols of 1,062 miles. So basically it's all the interstates outside of Metro Atlanta. We do coordinate and we do overlap with the Georgia HERO unit across the state, but basically anything outside of Metro Atlanta to the state lines we cover. When we started this program, we had 16 routes. So we had, 45, 50-mile routes. We've chopped those into smaller segments over the years, and we now have 26 routes that we're covering to get our response times much quicker to requests from the motoring public and requests for first responders for assistance. A couple of these routes currently run overlapped, 8 hours a day. We have I-20 west of Atlanta from going towards Alabama that is currently running 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for a pretty major construction zone. Next slide. So where is it located? Again, these routes covering 6 of the 7 districts for Georgia Department of Transportation. We also have dispatch centers. So where Hero uses the Atlanta Traffic Management Center, GDOT has 6 other districts across the state. We have a center in each one of these where first responders, 911 centers can contact them directly and request GDOT CHAMP services. They can also request GDOT maintenance, traffic signal technicians, maintenance forces, and things like that. Next slide. So what do we do out there on a daily basis? Well, we patrol from 6 a.m. until 10:30 p.m. Again, all the interstates outside of Metro Atlanta. We started patrolling back in February 2017, doing everything from roadway clearance, moving minor debris, a lot of tire treads, ladders, paint cans, cars that are broke down in the travel lanes, trees that have fallen over, anything that's going on that can impede the flow of traffic. It's our job to get out there and be proactive and get those travel lanes clear to keep motorists from making adverse maneuvers out on the roadway. We also do traffic incident management. So what this means is basically we're out there with the first responders providing temporary traffic control, advanced warning, and I'll show you some examples of that in a minute, to help protect not just the responders at the scene, but balance motorist safety with responder safety. Keeping traffic moving, keeping traffic from having secondary crashes in the backups or queues. In addition to that, we do motorist assistance. So a lot of times you'll see the traveling public break down, run out of gas, tires go flat on the roadway, minor issues like that. We'll go out and assist the traveling public, give them a gallon of gas to get to the next exit, change their tire quickly and get them safely back into the flow of traffic. Not just to protect that motorist that's broke down, but also the thousands of motorists that pass by, because the broke down motorist now becomes an obstacle to that traveling public. In situations where we cannot help a motorist, we'll help them with towing coordination by calling local law enforcement or state highway patrol and coordinating a tow truck to come out there and clear while we're still protecting that scene and giving advance warning to the traveling public. A big component of what we do is roadway maintenance. So we are Georgia Department of Transportation's eyes and ears out on the roadway, patrolling these routes, every day to make sure that things are not disruptive out there, that things are flowing properly, that drainage is flowing correctly and not backing up and causing hydroplane issues, that signs and guardrail and cable barriers are not knocked down and not being responded to quickly and efficiently. So these are just some of the things that we do on a daily basis to help make the roadway safer, especially on the interstates. Next slide. So just to give you an idea of what we're physically doing out there, in an average, and this is just a chart of what we've done the last year, we cleared, and if you're counting debris and abandoned vehicles, we cleared almost 105 things from the roadway in a 12-month period. We responded to over 6,000 traffic crashes, nowhere near what Hero does, but when these things hit, we're out on rural thoroughfares or interstates where the traveling public is not expecting stop and go traffic or major disruptions like they see in metro Atlanta or urban areas. Motorist assistance, we helped over 65,000 motorists, get to their destination safely. In addition to that, we did almost 60,000 roadway maintenance stops, clearing clogged drainage, identifying signs that had been knocked down, clearing vegetative growth and things like that. So 236,152 stops in a 12-month period for fiscal year 2020. That is a huge number of assists that we're doing out there to be proactive to the needs of not just the motoring public, but more importantly to us, the first responders that are out there helping to protect and serve. So what I'd like to do now on the next slide is just show a quick video and give you a run through of day-to-day life for a CHAMP operator. So what you'll see is, you can go ahead and run that. A couple things. So the red one, you'll see a crash coming up. Somebody ran off the road. There's responders there. Right there, you'll see a CHAMP operator. His truck is blocking a travel lane. He's putting out traffic cones for advance warning. What we're asking the first responders to do is to think about safe, quick clearance, to get these travel lanes open as quickly as possible, even if it's just one lane, to relieve these bottlenecks and keep these people from getting trapped. So what you can see here is, a one-lane incident, one of two lanes shut down, is causing a pretty tremendous backup. This traffic, they are not moving at all. And their expectation when they came through rural Georgia was that this traffic would be flowing pretty much like it is looking straight ahead in my direction that I'm videoing. So here's where the danger zone happens. This traffic is very light. It's fast moving. You've got inclement weather. You've got, visibility issues, slick pavements. This traffic that you're seeing now is running wide open. So right there, you'll see another CHAMP operator that has gone upstream to provide advance warning to the traveling public. So that is some of the things that we do as CHAMP operators to help keep incident scenes out there. So next slide. So as a first responder, what can you do to help us protect you? Well, first, contact your 911 center, your dispatch center, or 511, and alert Georgia Department of Transportation that there's issues and incidents out there, especially if it's affecting the infrastructure. If there's people running into bridges, if they're knocking out guardrail and cable barrier, we need to know about these things immediately. So as a first responder, the sooner you can let us know that you're even before you respond, that you're heading to a major incident or a lane blocking situation out on the interstates, let GDOT know so we can get en route to protect you sooner than later. Open travel lanes, use your laws, use your steer it, clear it law, use your authority tow legislation to get motorists and get things cleared safely and efficiently. The quicker we can get travel lanes open, the safer it is, not just for the traveling public, but more importantly for us. It minimizes our exposure out there on the roadways. Provide positive guidance at incident scenes. Do not let rubberneckers slow down, get their cell phones out, video traffic and video incidents. Keep traffic moving. Just keep the arm moving and keep that traffic going through that scene. And then another thing that's extremely important is provide advance warning. Again, that's a huge component of what GDOT and HERO does. That's what the traffic management centers do with the overhead signs, the 511 GA system. All of these things help enhance your safety at incident scenes. So we all have to work together to try to keep ourselves first and foremost safe at these incident scenes by providing advanced warning and guidance to the traveling public. So next slide, Ivan. So for the motoring public, what can you do? Well, first and foremost, and Raquel said this at the beginning, move over for emergency responders. Anybody with amber, red, or flashing lights at a scene, you should move over and give them that adjacent lane so they've got room to operate safely. If you cannot move over, you are required by law to slow down and prepare to stop. So you need to make sure that if somebody has to provide traffic control, that you're not running through that incident scene. If you're involved in a minor crash, don't wait for law enforcement to arrive. Clear that scene, move your vehicles out of the travel lane, take a quick photograph of what happened and move it to the lane. Enter incidents in Waze. That pops up on the Georgia 511 app. That means traffic management center operators are seeing this information from you as the traveling public. That goes for first responders too. When you're at a scene, if you're not doing anything else, put that scene in Waze so you can alert the traveling public and the traffic management center. The motoring public should follow all traffic control warnings and instructions from first responders, especially if you've got advanced guidance out there. If you're following your GPS, follow its instructions. If it's providing you detour or alternate route information, take that information to heart and get off that roadway, because if you don't, you're just going to contribute to the backups and the chances of secondary crashes, and you're making it more unsafe for the first responders. Most importantly, remain hands-free and avoid distracted driving. This is a huge issue for first responders out there on the roadway. You become basically a zombie and make it unsafe for us to do our jobs. Finally, call 511 to report incidents, or more importantly, to request motorist assistance. They can get the right resources out there, be it GDOT maintenance, signal technicians, CHAMP, or HERO. Next slide. So with that, again, my name is Brian Purvis. I'm the program manager working on behalf of Georgia Department of Transportation. So thank you for your time and attention. And Ivan, I'll turn it back over to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Brian, for that really great information about the CHAMP program and what you do as far as this campaign goes, and not even this whole campaign, but also what you do every day for CHAMP. And now we're going to see what's at risk for HERO operators, CHAMP operators, EMS, and many other first responders on a daily basis. So starting from the top left-hand corner, they're at the scene, risking their lives every day. They're out on the field, foot on the ground, responding to any traffic incident happening within the state of Georgia. And down to the bottom, damage of vehicles. So this is very light, but nobody likes any damage done to their vehicle, especially if it's a government vehicle like a HERO truck, Georgia DPS, state trooper van, car, or any CHAMP truck that's out on the road. No one likes damage. And the most important one out of all these is the top right-hand one, is your family. So one day you'll have a first responder leave their home, kiss their wife goodbye, say bye to their kids, do their job, and they come back. Sometimes, unfortunately, that never happens. Sometimes they leave, sometimes they never come back due to a failed tragic traffic incident that happens. So these are three of the main things that are at risk, but the most important one is obviously going to be family. And right here, we have a highlight of the HERO operators, and I will turn the floor over to Jason Josie, who is with the HERO program here in Georgia.
Thank you, Ivan. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time out and joining us today on the virtual tour. Brian Purvis gave an excellent presentation on the CHAMP program, and so I'm not going to repeat what he said, because everything that he put out there information-wise applies to HERO. Excuse me. Outside of the metro area, CHAMP has a tremendous footprint and a wide range of environments that they patrol, and it's generally based on the topography of the state, everything from plateaus to coasts to swamps to mountains. Those, ladies and gentlemen, really have to be prepared for whatever it is that the interstate throws them. So it's important that we keep those guys and ladies in mind when we start talking about incident management, emergency response, and what the CHAMP program and GDOT is doing for the motoring public. Within the metro area, HERO has the footprint. And while our footprint is not as large as CHAMP's, it is just as significant in the amount of traffic that we deal with on a regular basis. The volume is notorious nationwide, with everything from major accidents, incidents, and leading the nation commercial turnovers. HERO was established in 1994, and so we're 25, going on 26 years old. We patrol 400 center miles with 32 routes here in the metro area. We currently have 100 operators. We're capped right now at 173. We have 177 vehicles, 3 unmanned aircraft. Last year, we responded to 121,166 traffic incidents. We do that in support of more than 80 different agencies and jurisdictions. None of this, of course, can be done without the Traffic Management Center, who we like to refer to as the voices in our ears and the eyes in the sky that watch over us. The Traffic Management Center is synonymous with HERO. Without them, there really is no us. We depend on them to make sure that not only are we walking into a safe environment, but to also keep us up to date on an ever-changing incident that may be out of view for operators at that particular time. Like Champ, we patrol for the Georgia Department of Transportation, and we report back any kind of changes or incidents that involve their infrastructure or interstate system. We primarily respond to traffic incidents, and we like to consider ourselves protectors of the protectors, meaning we're generally first on the scene. Our operators are hybrids of sorts. We are a mixture of fire, police, EMS, and so we have to be prepared for whatever the interstate presents to us. Operators ride by themselves, so they have to be keenly aware and very proficient in everything that they've been trained to do on the interstate. We also are administrators of the TRIP program along with the Traffic Management Center. And the TRIP program is Tour and Recovery Incentive Program. And this program leads the nation in quick clearance for commercial vehicles. The incentive program has been in place since 2007. And since then, it has been nothing but spectacular. I do believe we are now averaging 38 minutes for a clearance of a major commercial incident, which is amazing. We have 16 companies that are involved in this program, and it is ever growing and ever changing. We also have what we call master operators, which manage the managed and reversible express lanes up north in Cobb County and down south in Clayton and Henry counties. These operators went through an additional 500 hours of training to be able to manage those lanes, and that also contributes to the quick moving of Georgia's traffic in the morning and in the afternoon to make sure that the motoring public are able to get in and out of the interstate system with ease and safely. So, saying all that is to say this. Our men and women are out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we're doing so much on the interstate system in support of the state and the motoring public. And it is very important that you as the motorist or you as the fellow worker are aware that we are out there on the side of the interstate working. And like Brian said, if you see those amber lights, if you see those red lights, if you see those blue lights, please slow down and prepare to stop, or if you can, move over. And if you do find yourself in an accident or an incident, steer it and clear it. Don't contribute to the problem, be the first solution of it. If you're able to, move your vehicles out of the travel lane and allow the rest of the traffic to keep going. It'll lessen the amount of congestion in that area, and it'll get you out of harm's way, because secondary accidents are a main problem that we deal with on a regular basis, not only in Georgia, but across the country. And so sitting in travel lanes or putting yourself in harm's way by not moving quick enough will only make matters worse if you get hit. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for this opportunity to speak today. And I hope you guys enjoy the virtual tour that's coming up.
Thank you, Jason. That was a lot of really great information about the HERO program and how that TMC 501 connection does play a huge part in what you do every single day. And one thing I do want to mention really fast before we switch over to the virtual tour of the TMC is the top left-hand picture right there, which was an event for naming the Spencer Pass Memorial Bridge. So a little bit of background around that. Spencer Pass was a HERO operator who back in 2011 was just assisting a stranded motorist on I-85 near Metropolitan Parkway. Nothing much was going on, and then all of a sudden, a utility truck driver towing a flatbed trailer hit Pass, who died, and then Pass died of his injuries. Because of this, we have not only the HERO Spencer Pass Memorial Bridge, but we also do have the Spencer Pass Law, which is also known as the Move Over Law. Just one of the really quick things I did want to highlight there as well. So now we are going to have the TMC virtual tour. So welcome. So when you would arrive at the TMC, the building just looks exactly like this. It's located at 935 United Avenue, Southeast Atlanta, Georgia. So it's all within the Atlanta area. And this is where we house our 501 and CERTA operations. And CERTA's work regards Georgia's express lane system through the use of the Peach Pass. So they help operate the toll transportation facilities within the state of Georgia. And we operate 24/7. So when we say 24/7, we mean 24/7 no matter what. So way back in 2013, when the snowpocalypse happened, if anyone still remembers that, we had 501 operators working in there. Sometimes they even slept overnight in the TMC. But they were all working right in there on the computers, making sure everything was good to go as winter weather was completely abrupt all throughout the state of Georgia. On the very first floor, we have our main floor, which is the ops floor. This is where all of our calls take place. So for anyone who calls 501 for any reason related to transportation, that call will be picked up right here. Now we have been working remotely for the time being due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and that's been really great. It's been working out, but pre-COVID, this is where all of our calls would take place. And our pods are designed in a specific way to be routed for easier communication with operators. So before we had this whole renovation, all the pods were within rows upon rows upon rows, and then we designed it to allow for easier communication and easier leeway through getting to all the operators, no matter what the incident is. And along the first floor, we also have used the top floors as operator stations as well in specific occurrences. So one of the examples that I immediately thought of was the Super Bowl, and it was here in Atlanta just a few years ago. So not only were we using this bottom floor for a lot of our operator call stations, but we're also using the top floors as well, just because there was more traffic and heavy pedestrian traffic as well within Atlanta and also the state of Georgia for that one big event. So this is a picture of what one of the giant screens looks like here on the bottom floor. And if you take a look at the right-hand corner, you can see kind of see that little window over there. That's where that's our second floor, and that's where one of our op stations was just for the Super Bowl. But here we have a lot of our traffic on the screen. So we have the main areas on I-75 South. We have some of the Atlanta traffic cameras up the right-hand area. But for a lot of our traffic that happens on major interstates, they're all right here on these big screens. So whenever we get special events such as a presidential visit or a vice presidential visit, and they have to shut off all the interstates, what they'll do is we'll actually shut off the cameras for the public that you're able to view on 511. So on any other day, you're always available to view that on the 511 website or even on the 511 app. But whenever there is a special occurrence or a special visit, a presidential visit, just for example, we will shut off the cameras to the motoring public, only have them up here, and you'll see CIA, FBI, whomever run down the interstate along with the presidential motorcade. So it's kind of a cool thing to see up here on the cameras. So what do we do? So I showed you everything that we have, but what do we do? So in 3 little sentences, the first one being get the right information, second one to the right people at the right, third one at the right time. So altogether, it's getting the right information to the right people at the right time. So let's break this down. What does it mean? So getting the right information. So for example, say, let's just use a whole example. So say there's a huge crash on I-85 and on Jimmy Carter Boulevard, which actually happened. It was a Fury crash. So getting the right information. How many lanes are shut down? Or what is the estimated time of clearance? Information like that, we want to get to the right people. So how many lanes are shut down? What's the estimated time of clearance? We're going to get the information over to our operators, obviously, so they can input it into our system. And we want to make sure Hero in this case would have that information as well, so that we're all working collaboratively, and also to GDOT as well, so they're aware of what's going on too, and on this whole scale massive accident, and also at the right time. This is very crucially important because you don't want to report it late. You don't want to get the wrong information out first. You want to make sure you have the correct, right, and accurate information going to the correct and right people, the TMC and Hero operators and GDOT as well at the right time. So you want to make sure it's all efficient as the accident's still going on. And if any updates happen where the accident clears or a couple of lanes are open, you want to make sure that information gets out to the right people at the right time to be efficient. So what do we have that makes this whole thing work? So we have 900 plus cameras. They pan, tilt, zoom, and they're all separated throughout counties as well. So one of the things we want to drive home with everything we have too is how we incorporate that whole Georgia DOT connection as well, because just like the TMC and Hero play a huge part hand in hand making this all work, we rely, the Georgia Department of Transportation and us rely on each other to make this all work as well. So this is involved for many things. So they'll use the technology for construction updates and traffic delays. So if we have any construction updates or traffic delays, they'll put that into their system, and we'll put it onto our system on the 511 website, which I'll get to later. But a lot of what the Georgia DOT and what 511 picks up are from these traffic cameras. So we can see even before a visual is laid out of how much traffic is by indicating it by a red or green color, we can already see if it's backed up visually on these cameras. So, like I was saying before, the red and green and even the yellow colors, those are our detector stations. So we're actually able to detect how much traffic there is on the road. So like I said, we're going back to the whole GDOT connection. GDOT can pick back up on that and then put that into a press release or a news alert on their side of things for the technology that we have, thus making that connection even stronger. So this is a whole hub that our operators use here at the Transportation Management Center. This is Navigator. So Navigator is used to enter in any incident that happens within the state of Georgia, whether it's on an interstate or a state route, whether it's inside the Metro Atlanta area or outside the Metro Atlanta area. It all happens here on Navigator. So one of the things that Navigator does have are changeable message signs. So changeable message signs are really important to the DOT, Georgia DOT as well, along with us. So if you have a huge accident that happens that's blocking 4 lanes and it's coming up in about 2 miles, you want to be driving down the interstate, you want to see a changeable message sign that says, hey, accident 2 miles ahead, 3 red lanes blocked. And the Georgia Department of Transportation works alongside with me and a collective of others to make sure if there's ever a campaign or if there's a huge accident. And also they work along with the TMC as well, that those signs are up and lit for everyone to see. And that's all entered here on Navigator. But what I'm showing you right now is actually a view of an accident. So with this whole array of windows, we have to our left-hand side a view of the map of Georgia, specifically the Atlanta area that's zoomed in. So all of our operators can actually see what that looks like, and you can see some of the yellow check marks, and those are low accidents. So those are accidents that are probably blocking about 1 lane, nothing too major. But then sometimes we do have those red accidents. So it's a red check mark where it's blocking multiple lanes and there's delays, and we have Hero and Champ out there helping out at all times. And all the information we enter into for the whole GDOT, TMC, and also the Hero and Champ connection, that all is entered into the little middle window that says viewer. So you can already see the very first thing says for example, GSB operator Davidson advised of a 3-vehicle accident. And then later on, you say Hero 558 is on the scene, assisting as well. You'll see updates. So the accident started. So this was entered in at 6:59, and then as of 7:48, there was no change in status. So that's one of the things we really drive back home to, is that we want to get the information at the right time. So if there's no change in status, if nothing's happened yet, make sure you update that as well. We make sure we update that as well within our system. And then the far right hand one is our traffic cameras. So our 511 operators are actually able to see all these traffic cameras. And going back to the GDOT connection again, if GDOT ever wants an image of a traffic camera to see what it looks like, they'll reach out to me or reach out to someone within the TMC as well to get those images. But again, that is driving home that connection with 511 and the TMC to make sure everything does work out in the end. So we also have an app if you are interested as well. That's something we also advertise here within the 511. Within 511, you're able to get this app on the Google Play and also the Apple Store as well. If you just type in 511 Georgia, 511 space Georgia, it's for sure going to pop up, and just download it. And it's a really great app. If you ever do want to, for example, reach out to Hero or Champ to request motorist assistance, you can do that by just the touch of a button like that, and it's amazing. And the Georgia Department of Transportation does really thrive in creating and streamlining innovation with 511. And with that being said, this is our newly renovated Georgia 511 website. So if you go to 511ga.org, this is the very first thing that you'll see just pop up, and it looks really fresh, new, and great. And we now feature an updated interface allowing for smoother and easier access to use for users to use. So if you ever want to see the cameras easier, and you're interested to learn more about 511 and the Georgia DOT, you can do that all here on the Georgia 511 website. You can also use the website as well, just in case there is inclement weather as well. So we use a lot of updates. So there'll be updates at the top saying inclement weather alert, and we'll put an ETA on there as well, just so that the motorists and the traveling public are fully prepared. And again, the Georgia DOT does utilize this. They utilize 511 and the Transportation Management Center to provide, again, real-time communication for major incidents or inclement weather alerts that do happen. So if a roadway is closed or if an interstate is shut down due to inclement weather, the Georgia DOT is able to know that because of Georgia 511. Thus, again, and I do want to reiterate this, we do have a really great and strong connection to the Georgia DOT with everything that we provide to them and everything they provide to us as well. So with everything wrapped up, with National Traffic Incident Response Awareness Week, with the virtual tour of the TMC, with the fantastic presentations from Brian Purvis of Champ and Jason Josie of Hero, along with Raquel Williams from the Time Task Force, we do thank you for tuning in and watching this presentation with us. If you have any questions, feel free to enter them into the chat. If you have any questions personally for me, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this event or anything that's Georgia DOT or 511 related, feel free to email me at my first name, last name @dot.ga.gov. Thank you everyone for tuning in again.